It's been nearly a week since West Indies kick-started their 2024 Men's T20 World Cup campaign with a hard-fought win against Papua New Guinea. In that week, so much has happened in the tournament. The team they faced next, they made their Men's T20 World Cup debut, which was a tough outing, but then after that, Uganda followed it up with a night for the ages. They now have a World Cup win under their belt, and it is with that confidence that they come into this meeting, West Indies versus Uganda in Providence, Guyana. It's time to build up on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Timeout, where we have the company of Samuel Badree, who's been covering all the action from that group. Thank you, Samuel, for your time. West Indies, it's been a while since they played, but it was a shakier than expected win. That pursuit of 130 odd was challenging. It was the slowness of the Papua New Guinea bowlers which seemed to be stifling the West Indian batters. You can expect a lot of that from Uganda, who is so stacked with their own spin options. Could that be the biggest challenge for West Indies?
Hi, pleasure to be here. Yes, I think so. It was an unconvincing and underwhelming performance from the West Indies in the opening game. One would have expected that they dominated that first game, got off to a really good start, and have a healthy net run rate. As it was, though, it was a very difficult win in the end. They'll take the 2 points, no doubt, but they look to improve in a lot of areas. You mentioned the slow bowling. I think the rotation of strike, the number of dot balls, and still the inability to rotate the strike is one of the biggest problems for this West Indian team. We know that they are a boundary hitting team, a six hitting team. I just think that on this particular surface, the venue that we are in, Guyana, it's a large plain area. So sixes aren't frequently coming by. And so because of that, you need to rotate the strike a lot more. You need to score off a lot more deliveries than they normally would. So I think from that standpoint, that's an area that they certainly need to improve on. It's something that we have been speaking about for a long time here in the West Indies about that rotation of strike, about trying to score off as many deliveries as possible. And I think they really need to adapt their game if they really want to progress in this tournament. It's not going to be only about sixes and fours. It's going to be about strike rotation. It's going to be about trying to manipulate the ball as much as possible, hit the ball in the gaps, and run quickly. I think that's crucial. They try to maximize in the power play. That's a given. Try to get as many as they can. But outside of the power play, it's how they negotiate the slow bowlers, the spin bowlers, of which they are going to get quite a lot throughout this tournament. A heavy diet of spin as we go through this tournament. The pitches are going to get slower and lower, and so they need to make that adjustment. So it's something that they have been speaking about as well as a team. I know that Darren Sammy has been talking about strike rotation. He's been talking about trying to score up the spinners, playing those sweeps, those reverse sweeps, and all those sorts of things. And I think they need to put that into play now.
Then does that point to a possible change in personnel? Hetmeyer, Hope, McCoy, and Shamar Joseph were the ones on the bench as West Indies stacked their 11 with all the all-rounders against Papua New Guinea. Would you change any of that combination?
Yeah, I think someone like Shehu could feature in that middle order, someone who can deflect the ball well, who can play the spin well, who can rotate the strike well. I think you need someone like that in these conditions. Conventional T20 thinking has changed in the recent past. Everyone wants to go hard all the way through the innings. I just think that based on the conditions that you're confronted with, you have to be pliable and dynamic in your planning. And so someone like Shea Hope, in my mind, can lend a greater balance to this West Indies team playing against the spinners. Also, when we saw Uganda play against Afghanistan, the faster bowlers really rattled them. And Faruqi picked up 5 wickets for 9 runs. I think if the West Indies go into that contest against Uganda with an out and out fast bowler and Shamar Joseph and just ask him to use all of his pace and just to intimidate the Ugandans who may not necessarily have faced that high quality fast bowling too often in the past. And also someone like Obed McCoy, the left-handedness again, Faruqi being left-handed, he got that ball to in swing and he caused mayhem at the top of the order. So things for them to ponder in terms of selecting their playing 11.
So then if you were to pick the 11, if you're considering a Hope and considering one, if not both, of McCoy and Shamar Joseph, who would be the players you move out of the 11?
So they played with three spinners essentially in Chase, Hussein, and Moti. One of the spinners for me can potentially sit out just for this Uganda game because we are talking about high pace and not being able to regularly face that type of bowling and use one of the spinners out on the bench and bring in one of the faster bowlers.
From a Ugandan perspective, they are already in dreamland. Not many would have expected them to finish this campaign their first in any World Cup, in any sport, with any win. But they have that now against Papua New Guinea, so they'll be buoyant. What is it? What are the areas that they would look at which could help them to perhaps frustrate West Indies?
I think their bowling has been quite good in the two games that they've played. They've been very consistent. Brian Masaba has 2 for 21 and 1 for 17. And then the evergreen Frank Subuga, 43 years old, the oldest player in the tournament, recorded the most economical spell in the history of the T20 World Cup. 2 wickets for 4 runs in 4 overs. And they also have Cosmas Kewuta, who is a good out-and-out swing bowler. So I think from a bowling perspective, they have the tools that can subdue this powerful West Indian batting lineup. It's their batting, though, that is a sign of worry. If they can string together a good score, like PNG did against the West Indies, somewhere around that 140, 150 run mark, I think they have the bowling which can really push this West Indian batting attack. But if they can't make that runs with the bat, then it will be a struggle for them. Very good bowling. They need to come good with the bat.
Right. Let's see which Uganda turn up, and more importantly, let's see which West Indies turn up, and whether or not they can launch their campaign. They have a win, but can they put out a statement? The co-hosts in their second game. Thank you so much, Samuel Badree, for setting this game up for us.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से।
Watch